Hi everybody and welcome back to piscarifly headquarters here. My name is Peter Driver and oh man Dave. My name is Peter Driver and you're all very welcome back to another night live fly tying here with me, Peter, piscarifly. It's absolutely lashing rain outside. Perfect night for fly tying and I've got a great night lined up for you tonight, so hope everyone had a great week. How you doing? Ken is on there, Nigel's on from South Wales, Martin Kenny, who else on there? Dave Donovan, Brent Spillane, David Hannaford, and everybody. Peter Wadding, how you doing, Peter? Neil, how's it going? Chris Oliver's on there as well. How you doing, Chris? Adrian Codd, Inishtig, Rivers Big down there, I'd say, Adrian. But I hope everyone, Paul Burke is on there as well. How you doing, Paul? Johnny Brannigan, good to have you on with us, Johnny. Hope everyone had a good week and enjoyed last week's show. It was great to be back out, great to be back on the air and enjoying some fly tying again with all you guys. Hope he's all. How you doing, Jacob Griffin? Good to have you on. Dave Lee's on there as well. Good man, Dave. Hope everybody's keeping well. I actually have managed, I don't know how I managed it, but I've actually managed being able to get through Restream all the chat up on one stream now. Des McCullough's on there as well, so I have all the chat coming from everywhere, all into one area now. I don't know how I managed it, but it's done anyway. John Stewart from Scotland, nice to have you on, John. She's nice supping it all right. Yeah, absolutely. Des McCullough, David Walsh, there's on as well. Good to have everyone on. Alan, Jamie Murphy. So tonight, folks, we're out doing a bit of stocky bashing during the week. We're in Adair Springs and we were in Leash Angling Centre. Myself and Mark and myself and on 2 different days. Hi Robbie Berry's on there. We were out to 2 days and had some great action both days, getting stuff ready for the piscarifly Club. Hi Stanton Jack there from Canada. How's it going, Stanton? Good to have you on with us. But we had some really good action. We're doing a bit of work. At the moment we're testing piscarifly Club, the new club that's coming, and we were out doing some work on it and we had some good action. But it also brought to mind, especially when I arrived at Adair Springs, and you saw the clip I put up earlier on Facebook as an advertisement for the show, that surface feeders. You know, when we go bank fishing, an awful lot of people head straight for the lures, the blobs and stuff like that. But sometimes surface feeding, approaching those fish with surface feeding flies can be very effective. And I must admit now, I was caught rotten on Thursday in Adair Springs. I didn't have that kind of stuff. I haven't fished that kind of stuff for a while, but it really brought to my mind that I must get back tying some of it. And I used to have a load of it tied up and really good stuff. So I said I'd do tonight's show on sort of 4 of my patterns. Now there's loads of stuff you can use. You can use dry flies, F-flies, sage. Everyone has their own kind of preference, or a lot of the high-end bank anglers would have a lot of preference about what they want, stuff they'd have confidence in basically, of what they would feed for, what they would use for a dry fly or a surface feeding fish. And for me, I'm no different. So these are my 4 kind of ones that I would normally always have in the box when I'm really targeting that kind of feeding fish that really on the surface, or let's say in a top foot or 18 inches of water, and I'm targeting those fish. Now, don't be mistaken that sometimes when you go to these fisheries, they're quite regularly stocked, and that's the idea of them. It's great, they're being stocked well. That a lot of fresh stocked fish can stay in that surface, that kind of top 12 to 18 inches of water, and they might look like fish that are feeding on the surface when in fact they're not. They're just up there, and they can be quite difficult to catch at times. You might pull a streamer through them or something like that, and you can pull some fish. Sometimes you're actually better off going down through those. Hi Jared Murta. Sometimes you're better off going down through those and looking for the older, more resident fish underneath them, and they can increase your catch rate an awful lot. But let's just say, for example, if we are targeting those top water fish, here's 4 patterns that I would not be without if I'm going after them. So I hope you enjoy this couple, and don't forget, hit the share button on the stream, folks, and you're in to win tonight's flies and the flies I tried in practice earlier on. Congratulations to our winners last week. Dave will be along with a little bit of a trivia along the way. Make sure you watch out for that one in the comments section. And yeah, we'll get down to business here now straight away. And we've got a size 12 301 dry fly hook here, Dohaku barbless in device. And we're going to start off adding a little bit of black tying thread. This is Classics Waxed by Simplify. First thing I'm going to do is put in a rib, which is a pearl. This is a kind of this is a hopper pattern. This has been, without a doubt, my most successful dry fly in still water ever. It's one I always, and I even do have it in the box. Believe it or not, even though I didn't fish on Thursday, but it is one I've had it for years, and it's really got me out of a hole a few. Good stuff. Trout bite. I don't know your first name, but watching us on YouTube there. Great to have everybody on. Great to have everyone on YouTube and Facebook now at the same time watching us live. If you do have any comments or questions, please shoot them across in the comment section, and I'll get to them. If I don't get to them tonight, I will try. How you doing, Graham? Graham is on with us there all the way from Sweden. Wicklow man. I'm just adding in a bit of it's black seals fur. Nice little bit of black seals fur. I'm just winding it on. There. Michael Callaghan. How is it going, Michael? I didn't know who you are, which are the name, trout boy. So we'll come up, not right up to the eye of the hook, but just leave a little bit of a gap there. About there is fine. So leaving quite a decent piece of a gap up to the eye of the hook. We're going to then take our pearl rib, and we're going to rib that. Up to that spacey as well. A lot of people bank fishing at the moment, so I'm getting an awful lot of questions about it. What's good for this, what's good for that, and I myself am doing quite a bit at the moment. A lot more this year than I've ever done, I'd say, in a long time. More than I've done in a long time. I'm going to give that a little brush out to get some of those seals for sticking out there between those ribs. So once we've got that far, we'll then take 2 natural CDC feathers placed on top of each other. We're going to tie them in there. I always tie them roughly halfway up the feather, like so, and then I'll pull it. So I'm trapping in many of those fibres as possible up along. Bring your thread back a bit and just trim off the last little tips there. Just tidying up there around the eye of the hook. Okay. We're again going to get some black knotted pheasant tails. And I'm going to put 3 on either side. 3 on that side. Graham, yeah, how you doing, Mark Rainey? Good to have you on with us. Yeah, there is plenty of other stocky flies apart from boobies. Plenty of other, but over the next week or two, because we're going to ask so many questions about it, folks. Over the next week or two, I am going to be doing some more stuff. Next week there will be another theme as we go through, because there's so many people out fishing those stocked venues at the moment, and I'm getting asked so many questions on a weekly basis about flight patterns, about this, and I'm doing this and this is not working and why isn't it working, and so we are going to spend a little bit of time on it this year. We haven't done that in previous years, but this year we are going to spend a little bit of time early in the season on it before we switch over to the more natural kind of lock style and stuff. Just a bit low there now. So you can see I've just created a little bubble. Hi George Burgess. I've just created a little bubble with that CDC by just looping it over and trapping it back in there up near the head. And I'm wrong. I missed a part. I'm going to try and be able to achieve something here now. If I can't, I'll go back. That's the joys about live fly time when I'm distracted by comments and questions and trying to do everything here. Before I loop that over, I'm going to add a little bit of orange seals fur. Not bright orange seals fur, it's really dull. As you see, it's not too bright, and we're just going to tie that in there at the butt of where the CDC. I'll catch the CDC and see if I can get enough of a loop on it. If I can't, I will go all the way back. Yeah. Looking from your vision. Yes, that's pretty okay. Left myself a little bit to spare there. Lucky enough. Secure that in quite well. A little bubble. How you doing, Anthony Bolton from Ratrum? Adrian, what would be a good background colour? I have a grey background on my mat here below me. There's a grey background here, and I kind of like that one. Some people like blue. A lot of people use white or very bright. Depends on what you get used to and what's best for your kind of eyes. I've just done a little bit of black hen here. Hackle. I'm going to put a little hackle in front of that. And then just tie up my waist. Normally white. Normally most people prefer white. It's easy on the eyes, easy to contrast with a lot of your flies. Just giving that a bit of a tuck back there. And most people prefer white. Yeah, Mark, I've fished this wet before as well, and it actually is fantastic. But as regards to dry fly, I've been in Laois Angling Centre and many other places where I've been really struggling. Oh, thread broke at the last second, it's okay. I think I still got the net. Where I'd be really struggling with catching some fish. And see the likes of that hopper there, with that bubble wing. That thing will get me a fish every time. I can't honestly say I remember a day when I've gone out and not as much empty the lake, but had red letter day on that Pacific Dry. But definitely, if you're struggling for fish and there's fish up feeding on the surface and you have that, put it out there in a long straight leader and just twitch that back along the surface. Or where I find it really good, hi John Johnson, where I find it really good is if I can get near a bank or an island and put it right in tight to that bank or the island. And if there's any fish patrolling that island, when you're tweaking that back out off the island, like a beetle or whatever it may be, thanks Kieran, they'll absolutely hammer. They'll just smash it. It's a real fishy fly. I've used it for wild trout as well as stockfish. But that is one dry fly. If I'm preparing to go to a competition and there's a chance I'm going to be going on dries or surface stuff, chasing surface fish, that's one I would not be without. With all the flies I have, that's one I wouldn't be without. It's an absolute belter. It's going to get you fish everywhere. It's like a bibio. It's like a pheasant tail. It's just going to. It's just so fishy. So fishy, it's going to get you fish everywhere, and it'd be my number one kind of surface pattern for surface feeders on a stock fishery. That's going to go into the little tub there now, and it will be say given away to whoever shares and likes or comments on the stream, and I'll do a draw later on or tomorrow. You're more than welcome, Peter. That's the idea. Sharing is caring. You're more than welcome to copy it and go ahead. And now next one's an interesting little one. This one you mightn't have all thought about, but this is another little dry fly. that, thanks Mark, another little dry fly that has got me out of trouble more than once. So we all know this time of the year, if you get a bit of sunshine or a little bit of a breeze, especially let's say since September, October, and even a bit in November, you get money spiders. You know them small little black spiders. They float on the wind. They put out a web, and they hang onto their web, and the wind takes the web, and they float in the air. That's how they travel from place to place. As you know, you're often walking around the house or walking around anywhere, and you feel one of the little money spiders on you and all that. John Ford's sound is breaking up. Is everybody else okay with the sound? Thanks, Kevin. But you know, these little money spiders, they're absolutely lethal for trout, lads. Absolutely lethal. Absolutely, Peter. I love sharing. So absolutely lethal for trout, money spiders, okay? But now, when we're talking about money spiders, we all know the bloody size of them. They're tiny little things. So thanks, Fergal Fenton, for that. Thanks, Garrett Core. Must be something with your feed. Everyone else seems to be okay there. One for the box, absolutely. Sounds good. That's grand. So the problem is tying those little goddamn flies on size 20s dry fly hooks or something like that, and then trying to fish them on these still waters, fishing for big rainbows. For one, you're going to struggle to get any kind of substantial tippet through the eye of the hook. Secondly, it's going to be, you know, if you do get tippet through, you know, if you go down to your finer tip, it's very hard to hold those fish. So we tied this fly a couple of years ago, and been using it on still waters for over the years, and it's been absolutely fantastic. So I got a size 14 301 hook here in the vise, and I will tell you, there's going to be one fly you should all give a try soon enough. It's this one. You get those fussy feeders, and I tell you where this really got me out of trouble an awful lot. Anybody knows Leash Angling Centre? Up at the top end, when you're walking down the lake and you go up to the right into that skinny water up there, it can be a difficult place. It can be a difficult place to go and get a fish, especially in tournament if you're the third or fourth man coming through it. You know, it's very shallow. Fish can be very wary up there, and because it's so shallow, they're mostly surface feeders up there, because there's only about 18 inches of water up there, maybe 2 foot. And this little guy has got me out of trouble up there more than once, I can tell you. Because I'm fishing on size 14, I can obviously afford to go a little bit heavier tippet and get away with as much as I can. Normally, if I'm fishing something like this, I'm on a 5 weight with a straight floater. The 3 lines that I would really go for when I'm targeting surface feeding fish is a floater, straight floater, a neutral density line which fishes just barely under the surface. It wouldn't be a slow intermediate. It's between a slow intermediate and a fast intermediate. A neutral density line. If you haven't tried them, do give them a go. They can be very effective, especially pulling unweighted leech patterns and stuff like that through just under the surface film. Really, really effective. Very good all across Europe on the European lakes. Been fishing that for a number of years. And then I have a midge tip. My favourite midge tip for the still waters would be the Lee Wolf midge tip. An absolute cracking line. So I'm just going to tie a little hackle here at the back. 2 turns is enough, 2.5 turns there. Get your thread and secure that in. Take away your waste. And then just whip finish that. See, there's a lot of surface flies that you can use. These are, it's caught up there now, there we go. These are just my 4 kind of, when I was sitting down the day before yesterday, kind of after I came back from Adair Springs, and I said, this would make a really, I need to restock my box with some of these patterns because I didn't have them with me. And yes, absolutely, John. Yes, it is the very same. And I said I must restock my box, and thought this would be a perfect night to do some of this stuff. It's the perfect time of year to be fishing these kind of flies, because there's still a bit of activity, there's still a bit of fly life out there. They can be super effective. And I'm going to just complete the same process up here at the head of the hook. So as you can see, I've tied just 2 small flies into one hook. 2 small little black money spiders on the same hook. And I tell you one thing, if you're fishing for stubborn, hard cut rainbows and flat calm water, you wouldn't go too far wrong throwing that over them. Just be careful. Such a simple little fly. Such a little simple thing. Hey, Gianluca. Good to have you on with us there. Look, missed that. Such a simple little... I know what's happened there. Such a simple little fly. 2 little money spiders on the one hook. And that thing, I tell you, you'd be quite surprised. You will, if you tie it up and give it a go. Nice flat calm, bit of autumn sunshine. When trout were sipping around the edges and up around the surface. And there's money spiders about. That could get you over a serious hole. A very simple but absolutely deadly little fly. So it is. So there we go. Down 2 already, folks. We got another 2 coming. I'm just going to tidy up here now a little bit and get ready for the next one. This is something you mightn't have seen before. Okay, this is a blast from the past, back from when I used to live in Wicklow, up fishing Anamo. And haven't tied this one. I actually had to sit and tie it twice for myself today. Haven't tied this one in a while. Had to really remind myself, had to go dig out the original pattern. I keep all my patterns in a book, kind of journals and journals and journals of books there, or patterns that I gathered over the years, and I had to go back to 2001, I think it was, 2001, journal to find a perfect line for it. But remember it, and I've tied it and fished it a few times, but my stocky fishing hasn't really taken preference over the, I have to even pull out the fly here now in front of me and see what I'm doing this on. Yes, actually I would, Chris. I certainly would. Chris, treat them. Yeah, surface stuff, and even this as well. I'm just making sure I have the right hook here now. Yeah, so it's a 301 size 12, light wire hook. But I've kept journals since I was a child on all the patterns I've learned over the years and stuff over the work. So I went back in the journal, back to 2001, I think it was, to find the tying of this fly. Tied in a lot of sizes, but this is just one of the larger sizes, okay? Lovely, lovely little fly, this one. You're going to like this one. It's kind of a take on a dialback, okay? It's a take on a dialback. So what we're going to do is put in a little bit of a tail. Now the tail I'm using here, this is a rabbit zonker, chinchilla rabbit zonker, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little piece of this to one side, like so, and I'm going to pluck out all them long guard hairs. I want the under fur. That under fur right there. That's going to be our tail. Okay, so once you've stripped away all the guard hairs and you got that little bit of under fur, that's what we want. And this thing represents a whole load of things. And we'll talk a bit about more as we start seeing the fly being built. Tinning it out, trap it in on top of the hook, and wind down. Tail only want to be about half the length of shank of the hook, and just taper off that, the rest of that body. We're going to go with a fine copper wire. Floats fine, Kevin Marr. Little bit of fine copper wire, and just secure that into place. We're then going to take some natural hair zero dubbing. You're only sitting on the water, like that little money spider thing, guys. You know what I mean? I gink up my line, or mooseling up my leader, that'll help support it, barred probably maybe a foot to the fly. That'll help support it. But like, I'm throwing that at fish. This one here, Robbie, I'm using right now is a size 12 301 Dahaku. I'm throwing that at rising fish. I'm going to leave it on there for a couple of seconds. If they don't take it, I'm taking it off and recasting. I'm not leaving it sitting there till something comes along and takes it. What scores it? What scores the match? Dave is on there with his question, folks. Dave is on there with his question. I'll just get it there for the. I will get it there for the. Where did you put that now, Dave? Yeah, it's absolutely happened here. Dave put up the question, guys. Peter Appleby is is credited with the tying of the original ap's worm. What tying thread does he emphasise for the best results? So Peter Appleby is credited with the tying of the original ap's worms, which is. What tying thread does he emphasise for best results? First correct answer in will win. So it's 12-6 to the Springboks. All right, interesting game. Another little bit of hairs here. I keep tying away. Another little bit of hairs here. Just build up that body a little bit. Now you can tie variations of this. I used to tie a black one of this as well, and I found it quite good. It was always the hairs here. Another place this used to work fabulous for me was Rackon. Anyone ever remember Rackon? It's not open anymore, I don't think. What I'm going to do here now is got a little bit of flat grey foam, as you can see, and I'm just going to taper off a little triangular section off that. So I'm going to have about 2 or 3 mil on the front, tapering right back. You can all see that. Okay. Actually, that's a little bit strong. I'm going to even... I'm going to take just a little bit off the heavy side. Just taper back along. Fine. I'm going to add that in up there now. Leave a little bit protruding over there. A little bit protruding over the eye of the fly. Okay. Take your copper wire, and we're now going to trap that down, making sure it's on top of the fly. And continue on up the body. Just taking your time, making sure it's trapped nicely on top. I can remember going to Animo fishing this thing during the summer months, and it'd be just ridiculous of what fish we used to catch in it. I trap the wire underneath the foam, as you can see, not over it, because I don't want to build up a bulk of thread up there on top. Okay, so if I trap in the wire and do the next thing I'm going to do, next thing there's quite a large chunk of thread up there distracting from our nice brown top. Okay, so I always trap up underneath the foam. And then just give that a little bit of a twist off. Break it away. One turn for good luck. We then take our dubbing brush and we start brushing all that out. Get some of those fibres, those hairs here coming out. Very natural little fly. They can take this for a whole load of stuff. They're going to take it for shrimp. They're going to take it for fry. We trim off the tail. That little bit of a tail we left on there. We trim that away. We don't want that there. That was only there to help us hold it and make sure it's exactly on top. The reason why I use that guard hair, or sorry, the underfur of the hare's ear, when that thing gets wet, it is so mobile in such a small little place. It's just wiggling away there. Just wiggling away underneath the fly. Just a very small, any little bit of vibration at all in there, it will it'll move, and it's so subtle. But yet, if there's a fish coming up, swimming up behind it, having a look at it, it's just enough to entice them. What I got here now is a bit of grey partridge. And I'm going to put a little bit of grey partridge up there. Just get our scissors in there and just clean that out. Most of these flies, if I'm fishing them, most of them are single flies. I'm going to fish them singly, and they're going to be on at least 15 foot a litre. Depending on the venue, depending on the time, you know, depending on the trout, depending on the tindalk or whatever it may be, will determine on the size of the tip that I'm going to be fishing. But straight through, no, you don't want knots there, little knots. There we have our little, just one little dark strand sticking in the way there. It's a little variation of dialback I tied many years ago and had serious success in it. And I tied that black, pure black, and what I do is I put a little bit of grizzle in there with a small bit of red thread on the top, and it's absolutely lethal for fry patterns as well. Fantastic little fly, that one. Definitely try it if you haven't tried it before, folks. Brilliant, just sits in the surface, and it's the same as a gurgler really. When you're just tweaking that back along, that little head, that little foam head just pops away there and just makes that little fly swim, just jerks through the water, making a little bit of disturbance. Really, really attractive, fantastic summertime floating fly. So they'll take it for fry, they'll take it for fry, they'll take it for shrimp, absolutely. Keith Jemison, yeah, shrimp, absolutely. And a really, really fantastic pattern. I'd say actually, you know what, I've never fished it for mullet, but thanks Taylor, but I've never fished it for mullet, but I'd say it'd be absolutely savage for mullet as well. Really, really, you know, a blast from past it. Back in 2001, I tied that fly, went up to Anamo Trout Fishery, found it very frustrating up there. A lot of surface feeders, really just throwing dries and picking off one fish here, one fish there, one fish here, and then went back and just played around on the vise as I always did, you know, in the evening time, stuff like that. Tied a few little fry patterns, little popper fries, and tied up something similar like that, and then evolved from there. And it was just, I went up one evening and it was just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, just popping that along the surface. Chris Oliver, it's in strips. It's in strips. It's just stripped. It's just glow cell foam in strips. I don't think I have any of the dark ones left in the shop at the moment. We normally sell them in packs. We have two different types of packs, dark colours and light colours, and that's just one of the grey from the dark colours. We'll have it back in soon. But yeah, really, and it's such a lovely profile of a fly, as you can see. Sits beautiful in the water, lovely and soft. And when the trout decide to hit that, they're going to hit it. So there's another one, folks, that's going into the little tub. Got a lovely little selection of flies here for someone that's going to win them tomorrow. All you got to do is share the stream, and I will do it. Well, I won't do it, the computer will do it. We'll draw a winner for all those flies. Moving on, we got one more left to do. That's our 4 flies. Nice quick night tonight, because these are simple little flies. You know, an awful lot of the stuff that I fish surface for stocked fish or in these lakes, they are simple. Simple is the best, you know. Simple little olive F fly or little black F fly, absolutely lethal. You know, floating fry is very good. Little black and silver shuttlecocks, just a black body, silver rib, little bit of peacock up there, and a bit of CDC. You know what, you could hammer fish on those things too. These are just the more kind of creative ones that came through over the years that are really good. This is a little dialback, and I've been fishing this one recently now, and been getting a lot of success on it. And I'm going to just tie it up for it here now. I'm just going to take out what I need. Again, I'm going to do it on the size 12, 301. 12 and 14s, 301s is how you doing, Liam? Liam Long is on there as well. How'd you get on in there, Liam? I heard you were down there fishing at Dare Springs today. Marty O'Neill there is on. No problem, Marty. It's on. It'll be on YouTube anyway. You can go back and watch it. It's been streamed to YouTube, and it is saved on YouTube there for anyone that wants to go back on and watch the show. Marty, that CDC hopper, I'd use that any time of the year. I've used it in Connemara in the summertime. Connemara in the summertime. I've used it in the depths of winter on Leash Angling Centre. The whole lot. It's just one of those flies you just couldn't be without, like, you know. Definitely. So we got a 301 size 12 back in here, but say 12 and 14s. I'm just sticking with 12s because it's easier to show you, kind of, it's better for the picture. And I'm just adding in some olive microgrilled. This is a little cormorant. Again, pure, simple, but that's all you want when they're up on that surface feeding. Now the other day when I was in a dare, I didn't have a great selection of surface feeding flies with me. This kind of stuff tied up, really. It's only since then I've been kind of tying them back up and putting them back in the box. But what I did was I put up the Lee Wolf midge tip, stuck up a bead head. You might have seen, if you've seen any of my social during the week, a bead head Rocco, olive and chartreuse Rocco. I even got it there, it's there somewhere. And just stripped it fast through the surface in that area. And managed to get a couple of fish on it, all right. So, you know, pulling a streamer. I'm just going to put a little bit of UV resin on this body because microgreen can be a little fragile, especially if you're getting a lot of fish. So I'm not building up a massive body, just putting a nice little even coat on here. I use the Solderez Tin Blue, tin and hard. It's the blue bottle. I find it the best of all. Puts a lovely little coat on it and doesn't Oh, I thought you were there today, Liam, sorry. Doesn't over build up the likes of these little body or from doing little quill bodies or whatever. Just give them that a little zap of the pain. Now for our, thanks Lars, for our wing here, I'm just using the tips of Black Marabou, the natural lens. As you can see, I just get a selection of them together, make sure I'm at the right length and the right density, the right amount there, and then what I do is trim that away. I don't know actually, Neil Hamilton, that's a good question. The Leash Angling Centre is probably the nearest to you, is it? We're going to get around a good bit this year on the so I like to go a little bit 1/4 the length of the body past the handy if I added in a bit of thread first, wouldn't it? Hard to tie in something with no thread. Black tying thread, folks, not olive. Black. It's got a black head on it. We are going to be getting around a lot. We are going to be getting around a lot through the new Piscari Club on all the bank fisheries all over Ireland this winter, and there'll be live footage coming from every one of them, and some recorded footage and information, and kind of the way it'll kind of work. Let's say, for example, so we've been practicing all week on the club and just doing things. I got some people testing it for me. Then I'd come on the night before I go somewhere, sit and tie the flies. I'm going to fish tomorrow live, so there'll be a lot more live shows and stuff, and then I'll go the following day then to these lakes and fish them and put up some live footage as well, but then also more recorded session on the technical end of things, what we're fishing, how we're fishing it, and so forth, and that'll be coming to you on a weekly basis. That'll be coming on a weekly basis to our subscribers, so keep an eye out for that one, folks. It's very near ready. I'd say could be even next Saturday night we could launch it, and should be good. I'm going to add in 2 little jungle cock cheeks here. Now, for the likes of these little cormorants, I split my jungle cock. I like them long and skinny, just tucked in there to the body nicely, slightly projecting up with the wing. Just 2 little cheeks. Now, if you don't have jungle cock, you can use, if they don't have jungle cock, you can use goose bites as well. I even had a blue one time that was working really well for us, and it was a salt and vinegar crisp bag. Was the colour blue. Just getting rid of that last little bit of jungle cock in there side. Make sure everything's in place before I finish it off. Holding the jungle cock in the wing, just create the head, starting at the eye and working the eye back. Good finish. Tato, Keith. The old salt and vinegar Tato crisp bag, that blue that was on that light blue, you couldn't get that in fly time materials anywhere. And we used to put it onto the cheeks of our, we had a, not a cormorant actually, it wasn't, it was dialback. Yeah, it was a black dialback with a long marabou tail, and the cheeks was the blue off the crisp bag, and no one could figure out for ages what we were doing and what blue we were getting on. And eventually, anyway, we told us we always do, we always share. And hey, Connor Kangley's on there as well. Eventually, we told lads it was a crisp bag, a little bit of varnish on that one there, and that's a lovely little cormorant, little olive microglynn cormorant, beautiful little fly. And see when it gets wet how sleek that is. They'll take that all day long. Lovely little fly, very simple, very subtle, and that's it. Doesn't get much easier than that, folks. Absolutely Neil, yeah. There we go, extra hour debate tonight. Adrian says, good man. Thanks, Adrian. I don't know if that cheered me up or make me more depressed. Bloody back to the dark nights. Thanks, Declan. Such a simple fly. As you can see, the simplicity in that one, the simplicity in the other flies, you know, they're not to be complicated. That thing there, if you were pulling that there through on the Lee Wolf midge tip, all day long you'll get fish on it. All day long. And the variations that you can do of such a simple fly like that, You know, by just getting the profiles right, and a nice slim body, simple body, little bit of jungle cock, a nice long, you see the length of the tail, that can move and flutter lovely in the water. And if they're surface feeding trout, they'll have no problem chasing that. Thanks Grow, thanks Diz. They'll have no problem chasing that and taking it all day long. There we go, folks. Jesus, it's only 9:10. Do you know what? I'm going to tell you one more. I'll tell you one more. And I'll tell you one more. I hadn't really planned, but sure, look what I have. I tied a couple of these for myself today because I'm going back out next week. I think I'm out Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm going to be on the lakes at least 2 days a week for the entire winter. And I said, geez, I better tie some of these little shuttlecocks. These little shuttlecocks for myself. And I was tying up a couple of these before I started when I was sitting down there. So I might as well whip these up one anyway, because I spoke about it already. This is one of my favourites as well. Simple little shuttlecock. But you know what? Again, it just shows the simplicity of the best flies. You don't have to. And an awful lot of things that people run into trouble with these days is over tying flies. I'm going to reach for a bit of material here. Over tying flies, you don't need to really overcomplicate things, you know. For the still waters, simplify is best. I remember a day, and I say everyone has their own preference of what works for them on surface feeding, but I was in Adair Springs a couple of years back. This place, this session really sticks out in my mind for one reason, and I was fishing there and I was getting an odd one here and there. It was nothing prolific, but there was fish everywhere, as there always is. And I'm just marrying up for natural sea feathers here, and fishing away, and there wasn't too many people there. We're all picking up ones or twos here and there, and this gentleman strolls down along the bank anyway and puts the rod down and sets himself up, and next thing he starts throwing out the fly. First cast, first fish, second cast, second fish, and this went on. Oh, 10 or 15 fish later, I said, Jesus, here. And we go over and get a look at this, see what this lad's doing. So Anthony Brady, if I had fry chasers, I wouldn't be afraid to put that up on a fry chaser brownie as well as a stocky, but it's mostly stocked. I found that to be most successful. But anyway, I went over to see this gentleman, and he was kind enough, and I asked him straight up as I would. And I said, do you mind me asking, what do you using? And he showed me this red dry fly, a red clink hammer he tied. Pure red, I think it was glow bright, I'm not sure. Very bright anyway, with a brown hackle and a white post. Couldn't be any easier. This Noel Senate I'm using now is a 611 size 14 by the Haku curved hook. And yeah, so, and I looked at it and I went, Jesus almighty, just amazing, like, you know. It was so simple, and I went home as we do, and I sat down and I tied 15 of them, different sizes, added an odd tweak here and there, and a few originals very similar to what he was using. And do you think I could ever catch a trout in that fly since? Not one fish did I ever get in that fly. I went back down about 3 days later to Adair Springs thinking, this is it. This is going to be some day down here. I'm just looking for a bit of silver wire here. This is going to be some day down here. I'm going to empty this lake. And not a fish. Fished it for 3 or 4 straight hours, and didn't get as much as sausage in it. You know, so some days they're in the humour, some days they're not. And an awful lot of it can be due to confidence. You know, that guy obviously had that fly, was very confident in it. And all evening long that day he was there, and he was just murdering fish. Going to tie you right down. And back up again. Keeping a nice slim body. Don't want any great bulkiness in that body. Just nice and slim. Take my silver wire. Just turn on this side. And then just rib up along. Of course, another great method of catching those fish is using the washing line method. If you're all aware of what the washing line method is, this is where you put your floating fly out in the point, and then on the 2 droppers, you could have 2 buzzers, cormorants, or dialbacks or something like that. That can be super effective as well. Fishing a washing line method for those, you know, you're really keeping the flies up in the, you're really keeping those flies up in the surface film. Reaching over here now for some goose bites. I'm just looking for some orange here. And down here in the box. Orange goose bites. Here, take out some softer ones. Just right down the bottom of the stem of the feather. And they can be a little bit brittle and stiff down there. It's always been a great favourite too. I mean, tying one in either side. Like so. And then we get some peacock. You can go with peacock double if you don't have any natural peacock. For me, it's always natural peacock's a little bit better. And I'm going to tie 2 quills in there. Bring the thread down a little bit, just so you start your body off. Your thorax, this is our thorax, coming nicely off a clean body. Again, as you can see, I always secure those body materials and stuff onto the shank of the hook up there, not up over the CDC, because sometimes they can be weak. Your tie off can be a bit weak there, and that's the first place it'll go with your first fish, or even sometimes a cast. We then take our 2 cheeks and we pull that up through our peacock. Making sure it stays on the side of the hook. I just hit the camera there, sorry folks. And we'll do the same on the other side. Just take your time, be gentle. Get everything into place, and then we can tighten it all up. Kind of at this stage, if you want to turn your hook slightly more vertical, we can stroke back our CDC a little bit. You get a couple of nice turns in there. Everything's well secured. Then you can go in with your scissors, the point of your scissors, and take out any unwanted material. Like so. And then complete your little head. Simple little shuttlecock there. No, Robbie, no, I'm just reading the message now. I hadn't read anyone. No, didn't clean up, Robbie. Absolute disaster. I do often even come across some of those little red flies somewhere in different stillwater boxes and stuff, and I go, geez, remember the day that lad? Okay, it's amazing, like, it's amazing. But obviously confidence was a big thing. But there's a little shuttlecock that I've fished 1,000 times, and really, again, you know, it's nice simple black, you know, simple black, little black and silver. That thing will sit up now in the water, just hang lovely in the water there. And again, surface feeders will pick it off. I've even often fished that as a dropper, or even as a point fly, and back on a dropper have a very small little nymph. Thanks Liam, thanks Wayne. Have a small little nymph there that that the trout might take as well, you know, and use that kind of as a clink and dink style. It can be quite good because that CDC will keep that floating if it's treated well. Lovely little shuttlecock pattern again. Subtle little cheeks on it, not too over-tied. But very, very attractive to trout, to surface feeding trout. So there we have it, folks. There's 5 simple, very simple but super effective little flies that you'd want to with you on the still waters to have a bit of fun on. Probably fishing a 5-weight rod, and anything heavier is going to cause trouble with tippet and break-offs. So I'd normally be fishing a 5-weight rod, say 15 to 20 foot leaders. Tapered probably the butt sections out into, thanks Declan, taper the butt sections and then go a bit more straight then as I get nearer to the fly. But simple little flies that can really get you out of trouble on some still waters if they're surface feeding fish. I hope you all enjoyed the fly time. We're quick enough now tonight, so you can go catch the end of the World Cup. And thanks again everybody for watching, and as always, thanks for all your support here at Piscarifly. We really do appreciate it. We'll be putting up more information about Piscarifly Club during the week, so do stay tuned and watch out for that. There'll be more information coming at release dates and stuff. That's going to be a great crack, great show coming up, and we'll be back next Saturday night live again, once again, with another live here at Piscarifly. So have a great week, folks, and we will see you all back here live next Saturday night, 8:30 p.m. Thanks a million. Don't forget, if you need any fly fishing or fly tying gear, do check out piscarifly.com. See you all real soon.
you.